Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jennifer Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Honest. I am Jen Noble, your go-to relationship coach. And on today's episode, I am so excited to have a special guest on with us. This is Dr. Deonne Johnson, someone I consider not only a colleague, but a good friend of mine. And she is the author of the most fabulous book, From Tired to Inspired, a soulful guide to reclaim your energy, joy, and purpose. Dr. Deonne helps women move from burnout to inspired living through her membership programs, her workshops, and her transformational retreats. She is known for her warmth, her wisdom, and her heart-centered approach. She guides women to reconnect with themselves, their purpose, and what truly matters. And I'm so honored today to have Dr. Deonne on the show with us today. Dr. Deonne, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Jen, I love that introduction first. Thank you. And similarly, I love spending time with you and consider you a friend. And I love that we met through our publishing network using the same publisher.
Yes, that's right. We're both authors with Lucky Book Publishing. As very many people know, I've had a lot of people on the show lately with Lucky Book Publishing. These are all just becoming my besties. That's why I have to have them all on. In fact, Deonne and I will both be at the LA event in November that I have been talking about for so long. I cannot wait to see you in person and just give you the biggest, tightest hug of all time. And you and I have conversations, on the side all the time. So I thought, what a perfect opportunity to get you to come on the show, come on here and talk to women, because something it is that you deal with a lot is burnout. Tell me a little bit about your own story with that.
I think experiencing my own burnout at least a couple of times. And one of them in our pre-game conversation, we talked about the Wonder Woman cape. And that is a reference that I utilize a lot because it was in 2012 where I realized I needed to take my Superwoman cape off and stop doing all the things for everybody because I was just at my own personal rock bottom. I mean, knock on wood, let's hope that it doesn't get to that stage again. But the universe was definitely giving me these nudges that I needed to make different choices. And so in a short span of about 4, maybe 6 weeks, my grandpa passed away. I had a flood in the basement, which was actually sewage, which meant ripping out all of the carpet. I mean, just a tiny little spot, but it still meant like all of the carpet and sheetrock. And that means all of your furniture needs to be moved. And my now ex-husband, we've been divorced for 12 years, so it's been a hot minute. He moved out and an emergency hysterectomy. And so it just kept coming and coming and coming until I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to listen and I'm going to fold my Wonder Woman cape. I'm going to put it at the foot of my bed and I'm going to really assess what it is that I want with my life. And so my book, From Tired to Inspired, really is a culmination of all the tools and strategies that I've been able to gather over the last 13, 14 years and to put them into a logical order. It's the book that I wish I would have had at that moment. And it's also interesting because I've had a number of readers that have not been nearly in that depth of stress, but also been at a stage where they're a different career or emptiness, like a chapter of reinvention that they've been super appreciative of these questions and these prompts and these strategies.
That part is so beautiful. I do know one of the things that you have in your background is a doctorate in instructional design. Is that correct?
Instructional technology, yep.
So I had to go look that up because I was like, what the hell is instructional design? What is this? Can you actually just explain it to us a little bit about what it is that is?
And I love that that's your question because I remember somebody telling me you should consider a PhD in instructional technology. And I was like, what is that?
I do think it's relevant, though, to why your book is so special. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. So my background is definitely in teaching and in computers. So it merges both of those and layered with adult learning theory. So yes, the design of my book is so intentional, not only the font choices and margins and the layout, but even when you have an opportunity to have reflection, there's all these little dots. So there's like a bullet journal dot grid, because then if you want to write big, you can. And if you want to write tiny, you can. And if you want a watercolor or pastel paints or markers or whatever, it's all there. And even scaffolding the learning, which that sounds very techy or whatever, but we like to walk into a place and know what to expect. And so when you open the book, you immediately feel this like ease and peace because you know there's a guide there for the journey. So it's here's the tool, here's the strategy. And then I often share my own story of how I applied that strategy in my life. And then there's space to put your own spin on that, to do your own reflection, to do your own application.
Yeah, and it really shows when you open up the book and when you're able to look through it, it gives you, listen, I'm a structure girly at heart. I need structure, I need ideas. And the thing is scaffolding, that'll make total sense to all of the ladies, at least in my membership program, because I say that all the time. My 12-step program, in order to become secure and learn how to confidently communicate, is all based on a 12-step scaffolding section. And so when I opened up your book and I'm looking through it, I'm reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easy to understand. This isn't all over the place. And like, oh, and listen, I get it. I have ADHD. I'm all over the place. This is why I like structure. But other books I read sometimes, they're just all over the place and I don't know where to start, where to begin, or nothing draws me in to know how to keep going. But your book, it's so special in that way where you're very intentional. You're very intentional about here's this chapter and here's why. And yeah, one of the really coolest things about your book is the bullet journal. I mean, it's so much more than just a book. It's essentially a journal you can use after each chapter or each section to go through and be able to write or, like you said, draw or just doodle your thoughts, because it's so important. Ladies, if you are listening right now, come back to me real quick, because our written word, our written ideas, our mind to hand to paper connection is actually incredibly important for our neuroplasticity. It teaches our brain and our body things that typing unfortunately doesn't do. Don't get me wrong. I'm still down for like a notes app in my phone that I keep my journal in and things like that. But this is so, so special. So talk me through a little bit. Why did you want to add the bullet journals to your book?
Because bullet journals have literally transformed my life. I actually have one that's here.
No way. That's fantastic. Oh my goodness. For anyone listening, she is just opening up her bullet journal and it is beautiful.
I just have a little bin of paper or pens, and I just pull one out and I'm like, that's the color I'm gonna use today. And it's high quality paper and a pen that makes you where you don't have to worry about it skipping. It's really helped me process and reflect my own feelings and experiences in all areas of my life, whether that's business or relationships or education or creativity, friends, family, my own children. Yeah. I'm a big fan of The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron.
Oh, beautiful.
She recommends to have 3 pages of morning pages every day where you just write. And one of my favorite prompts, and this is also in my book, that I think I got from Elizabeth Gilbert, it might have been also from The Artist's Way, is a question. If I'm stuck, then the prompt that I journal or I write down in my book is, "Dear one, what would you have me know today?" And it's kind of this calling on of, I always think of myself as 83, but like, what does this wise 83-year-old version of Deonne have to share with me that the choices and actions I'm making today are aligning for that life that 83-year-old woman is like, heck yeah, you did it. You're here.
Oh, I love that. So it's the prompt is, "Dear one, what do you want me to know today?" Is that what you said?
What would you have me know today?
What would you have me know today? And this is coming from like your 83-year-old self. Like your 83-year-old self is asking you, it's saying, "Dear Deonne." That's beautiful, because there's so many times, oftentimes, like with the work I do with my clients, where we go back in time, right? You know me, I work with attachment styles, and we'll talk on that in just a second, but we go back in time. We heal our inner child or our inner teenager, even our inner 20-something-year-old girl, that's out there clubbing all the time or whatnot, or maybe she wanted to and she didn't get a chance to. And we talk to her as our like 40-year-old self. So what a beautiful opportunity we can have to jump forward,
right?
And do it in the other direction and have our 80-year-old self looking back on us and say, "Hey, dear one, like, what would I like you to know?" Or, "Hey, this is what we need to be doing today to get where you want to go."
Because there's so much love and compassion, right? When I think of my own grandmother and the grandmother that my mother is for my kids and all of her grandchildren, there's so much wisdom that happens. Actually, I don't know why I'm going to bring this up, but I love we'll just jig and jag.
This is what we do, Deonne. So
I heard a TED Talk. I'm pretty sure it was a TED Talk, but the man talked about that there's 3 mammals that go through menopause, and it's elephants and whales and humans. And the reason that they go through this menopause is because the matriarchs have all of this wisdom. And rather than dying in childbirth for evolutionary reasons, those 3 mammals, the women, have so much wisdom in them that they go through that menopause so that they're not dying in childbirth at 60 or 70 or 80 years old. So when I think of my own life, I'm like, I'm in this wisdom acquisition and sharing stage of life.
Wait, are you sitting here telling me menopause is a blessing? Because I am going to struggle to have to understand that, but I think you might be right. This is mind blowing right now.
Right?
It is. It's like our gift, isn't it? As women going into our prime. I know right now I'm perimenopausal. I know so many of my listeners are, and I know there's women in my program that have completely been through menopause and they've gone on to the other side, and it's a bitch right now. Sometimes
it's a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's difficult and it's hard, but also you're right. Otherwise, what's the alternative? We would be getting pregnant, and some mammals do get pregnant all the way up until the time they're done. And yet we get this gift to kind of come back to ourselves as this quote unquote middle-aged woman figuring out ourselves. But it's this beautiful opportunity in our lives to make ourselves in a way where we get to be in alignment with what we've always wanted to be. Right. And I know one of the things that you talk a lot about is reconnecting with yourself, is being able to slow down and really get to that place where you are inspired. And so let's say there's a woman out there right now and she's perimenopausal. She's 45 years old. She's listening and she's like, I'm just fucking done. I have too much on my plate. My kids are just destroying the house. My husband isn't helping. My job is a mess. Like, how does she come back to herself?
I think one of the very first things is to assess where you're at, right? Because if you don't know where the starting point is, how can you even measure? And this is for sure my PhD checking in, right? Like data-driven decisions. It's interesting that I pulled this orange bullet journal because this was a little download that happened in June of last year that laid the foundation for my book. And one of my frameworks is called the Bloomprint. Because I have it right here.
Yeah, grab it.
Yeah, let's just grab it and do a little show and tell.
Yeah, grab your book, open it up, let's see.
And one of my very favorite things to do is assess where you're at.
Can you explain it for everyone listening?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
So there's 12 petals on the flower there, and they kind of simulate Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and even the 6 core human needs, and even the chakra system, and even feng shui. Like there's all these different frameworks, and I put them into my own framework, utilizing words that made the most sense to my clients. So at the bottom, there's work and contribution as one, home and surroundings, money and finances. So that's kind of your foundation. Then on the right, you've got your relationships, which is your family, romantic connection, friends. And then on the right, it's more your emotional well-being, creativity and play, physical vitality. And at the top, it's personal growth, spirituality, and legacy and impact. And so the invitation in the book is, let's have a starting point. And so here's one of my clients. She had color, but it's printed in black and white. So where are you at? And you can color it so you can kind of get a snapshot of where are you today. And then at the end of the book is an invitation to assess yourself again, not in a like pass-fail kind of way, but just like this, like check in. Where do you want to be? And where are you now? And what areas are thriving? And which ones need a little more attention?
Yeah.
And I think we don't often even like take a heartbeat to even give ourselves time or consideration. We do this with work, your KPIs, right? Your key performance indicators. Are you on track? What are your goals? Da, 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 da. Why do we spend, this is why I don't work at a corporation anymore. Why did I spend so much time and energy killing myself to meet the KPIs for a corporation that ultimately...
I know. And where's our KPIs? Yeah.
It's not that they don't care, but also like they don't care.
No,
like,
it's not. But let's put that much effort that we're giving to making someone else money, and let's put that effort into ourselves for our fulfillment, our satisfaction, our longevity of our own life. You're absolutely correct. In fact, the very first step of my module system with my ladies is we go through, and I have the 8 areas of life, very similar. And this exactly, I tell this to people all the time. Y'all, we are not creating anything new. We have not reinvented any wheel. We are just taking the knowledge that is already out there. We are on the shoulders of beautiful, great people that have done the research before us, and we are putting it in words where we understand it, especially us women. Especially a lot of stuff out there is written by men, and they don't quite understand what it is that we're going through. So we have beautiful flowers. We have
Yes.
great words to help understand for us, like legacy, impact. Those words are so emotional. So they're so important to us. And so, yeah, I go through and I have the ladies say, like, we just need to do an audit. We just need to be able to see our lives and see. But so many people, it's actually a lot harder than they realize to sit down and be like, oh shit, wait, I don't feel like I am leaving an impact or a legacy. And then what do I do with that big emotion? And so I get it. It's difficult. It's hard. But at the same time, it's so necessary. So listen to Dr. Deonne in this, grab her book. If what I do isn't resonating, go to Dr. Deonne, what she's doing. If what Dr. Deonne is doing isn't resonating, go find someone else. But live your life in a way where you're going to fulfill yourself and be satisfied. As I don't believe in the word happy. That's my big thing. So I always have these other words. I want us to all do that. So with all of that said, I want to transition slightly, just looking at everything we're talking about. And I want to talk about relationships. You mentioned before that your relationship, one of the things that was the cause of your burnout back, what was it, 13 years ago now or something like that? Tell me where you are today with all of that.
Yeah. So I've been married and divorced twice,
Mm-hmm.
and I have 2 kids from each relationship. So, and I've been single for the last 12 or 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. And I've had a significant relationship since then that ended a year-ish ago, maybe 10 months ago. And previous to that ending is when, like Jimmy on Relationships, I think he became pretty popular on different social media channels. And I got a message from my partner at the time that sent me and said, hey, have you heard of attachment theory? I was like, I think I've heard of it, but I hadn't really delved into it at all. And he said, I think you might be anxiously attached. And I was like, that's not true at all. Like in my mind, I was like, I'm so secure. And then upon further investigation, oh yeah, 100%. I was anxiously
You're like,
attached.
oops.
And he was avoidant, which we know that that's often pairing, because then we are often triggered, which is actually just kind of a flashlight onto our own childhood of what gets to have more attention and investigation. But when I recognize that in myself, also recognize that that's why I was always pursuing. I was always planning the dates and planning the vacations. And like, I wanted to make sure that there was this thing on the calendar so that I knew that we were going to be spending time together. Like, because then that gave me that foundation of security.
It eased your own level of anxiety. Exactly.
Yep. One of our core human needs. And so when I recognized that, and then we were in therapy, so we talked to our therapist about it, it was like a 180, bless the poor guy's heart. Like in a span of about 3 days, I was like, oh, well, then I'm going to not do that behavior anymore. I'm going to give you a chance to show up and lead. And then that was hard for him, because for some people, change can be easy and pretty, maybe not easy, but can be pretty immediate. For other people, they need time to adapt. And I just was like, I'm done. That behavior is no longer serving the life I want. Done.
Can we stop down into this a little bit? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Because this is actually such a good point. First off, I'm very impressed that as a avoidantly attached man, he was the one to tell you about attachment styles. Gosh, is that rare? It's usually the other direction. The anxious person wants to tell the avoidant, look, this is what you are. See why you're the problem. So that was just really like shocking to me that he did that. So I was like, that's cool. I love hearing different experiences, because people always come to me like, is this possible? Always. Everything's possible. We're humans. We're not, code. We're not just going to like be one way all the time. And then, yeah, when you're in that space and you guys are getting counseling, you're talking about all of this, and he's not able, it's sounding like I'm hearing, he's not able to step up into the leadership role. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a skill set that he was on the quest of acquiring.
Yeah. And this is why not only are anxiously attached people attracted to avoidantly attached people because they kind of reinforce this wound and this belief that I'm not good enough and, I need to earn my worth and all of these things. On the opposite direction, see how good anxiously attached people are for avoidantly attached people. And right now, let's even just talk about it in terms of men and women. Again, spectrum everywhere, but research does dictate that anxiously attached individuals typically predominantly tend to be women and avoidantly attached tend to be men. We don't know why this is. Personally speaking, my professional personal opinion, it's not biological. It's just how we're raised in a society for emotions and all that stuff. But you see in this moment, he kind of like needed you to be that person to stay on him, to plan things, to do this kind of stuff. That's why he's attracted to you. But at the same time, oh, it's too much for him, or you're too clingy, or you're too needy, or you expect too much out of him. And it's like, yes, of course you do. You want a relationship. But I bring that up so women can hear themselves in this story to say, look how good you were for him. And at the same time, yeah, unfortunately, sometimes even when we're healing, we cannot always level up the other person, even though we level up. So what was that like for you becoming secure and learning, oh, we're just not compatible?
For sure, heartbreak, because we were together for 3.5 years, which is, I would say, substantial. And I really do believe that everything happens for my highest good. So letting that be the North Star. And I went to lunch with a friend that she had a pretty big one of those like mic drop moments, because she said, what if you staying in the relationship is actually doing a disservice to him, because he won't hit his own rock bottom as long as you're in there being the safety net version. And I was like, oh,
I like your friend.
yeah, hi, Tracy.
She's good. Because it's so true. Oftentimes we want to save them, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not our job, unfortunately. It's not our responsibility. And we need to let them figure their shit out. We need to let them, like you said, hit rock bottom. And also, it's really hard. Let's just be very honest about that. It's hard to watch them.
And the other part was recognizing what was in it for me, which I was, oh, I'm needed. I'm helping. I can show him a better way. So being detached from that and owning like there is value that I'm getting out of this relationship too, in a, I don't want to say unhealthy way, but just recognizing that this was a pattern in my life and I was going to keep getting what I was getting if I kept doing what I was doing.
Exactly. I would say it's in like an attached way because, yeah, healthy, unhealthy comes with a lot of like connotations. But there's absolutely an attachment wound there of saying, oh, if he needs me, then he won't leave me, that I'm needed, I'm important, I'm wanted. All of these things, those wounds often come up in anxiously attached women. It's where we feel like we need to be everything for everyone. You talk about this in your book, like you said, the Wonder Woman cape. We have to be all the things all the time. And it's like, no, we shouldn't have to. We should be able to be in a relationship where we can be imperfect. We should not have to carry the weight of the emotional load of this relationship. And that means sometimes the most secure thing I think you did was probably walking away from that relationship. That's the hardest part. That's secure. Because people say, I'm healing. I'm becoming more secure. But now I kind of see all of his issues. Wait a second. I feel like I'm worse. I feel like I'm avoidant now. I feel like I'm creating problems. And I'm like, no, sweetheart, there was already problems there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I also recognized was it was dishonoring to myself and the life that I wanted, going back to that 83-year-old version, right? Like, what's the life that you want when you're 83? Well, then what choices should you be making today so that you can have that relationship, have that house, have that career, that legacy, like all of the 12 leaves of the Bloomprint. Like, if you want a body of help, then you should be doing certain number of things, right?
Yeah. And what often happens in that relationship, and maybe you can speak on this a little bit, is we stay in these relationships because we think, oh, if I am good enough, he'll change. If I love him enough, if I work hard enough, if I say the right thing, if I just get us the right counselor, he'll change. And then I will get that life I want when I'm 83. And instead, that holds us back, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it's not in our control. It's the Mel Robbins theory, right? Let them and also let you. Like he had complete freedom to do what he wanted and needed to do. And if he wanted to be in a relationship with me, then I felt empowered to set my own boundaries and say, this is what I need in a relationship. And it's okay if you can't be that person. Like I still love you and you're worthy of a great life. And so am I. And it just means that we're not in a relationship together.
My favorite thing about the way that you're talking is something I teach so often, which is when we are letting someone go in our lives, this could be a partner, a husband, a boyfriend. It could also be a family member, a friend. We're not creating them as a villain. We're not putting them down. We're not, listen, I love a good trash talk session with the girls and a glass of wine. We can always have that. But generally speaking, we come back to this moment of, we're not right for each other right now. Like he wants something different and you want something different. And neither of you are right or wrong. You're just not compatible right now. And you can feel that in the love that you speak of towards him. Even now, the healthy space that you're in of saying you're just lovingly letting him go. And that's hard, but it's also freeing. Can you just talk me through what that feels like in your body, being able to truly speak from that place in your heart?
Yeah, he's a good guy. I even invited him to one of my book launch, so we'll see.
Yay! Listen, I am friends with all of my exes, so people know that all the time. So because that's it. It's about just loving them. And it takes a weight off of your body. So when we talk about reconnecting with ourselves, when we talk about living in alignment with our values, do you want to be the type of person that's talking shit about somebody else? Oh, he did this and he's a douchebag and, he's a dickhead and he's this and he's that. Or do we want to be the type of people that are coming at it from a place of love and saying like, okay, he just needs to go figure himself out. And that's where I want to get us with. So that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. I know with attachment styles, it is what I do. I wrote my own book, right, with Lucky Book Publishing, Dance of Attachment. And you can grab both mine and Dr. Deonne's book on Amazon at any time. You just go in there, type in our names, type in our book titles, and you guys can get them. I'll also make sure I have them in the show notes. As we're wrapping up here today, Dr. Deonne, is there one last thing you would love my listeners to know?
As you were talking about relationships, one of the chapters in my book talks about the practice of ho'oponopono. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not. Talk me through it.
I might get the order imperfect, but the content will be there. And it was as a result of my first divorce, and there was animosity, like there was just frustration on both of our parts. And I think it was, I don't know, this was a long time ago, 2005, something like that. So there wasn't TikTok and Reels and all, right? Like the internet was a baby at that point. But I went to a retreat where they talked about this 4-part Hawaiian prayer. And the words are, I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, please forgive me. And the invitation was to just sit with that and to use those words towards any relationship that needed healing. And again, this is in my book. The history behind it is so powerful. It was a psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor working at a hospital. And he would take a file folder for the different people that were living in this hospital. And he would use those words. And that was the only thing that changed. He didn't necessarily meet with them. He didn't have all these counseling sessions. And what's crazy is how that elevated the energy within this hospital on Hawaii. And I thought, if it can do that for these people that are living there with one person sending that love and that prayer and please forgive me and thank you and I love you and I'm sorry. What if that could heal my heart? And that, maybe I already said this, but the idea of drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, that's a little bit the headspace that I was in. And on one hand, I want to say I wish that hadn't happened, but also I can give myself grace and say, when you know better, you do better. And I didn't know better at that 32-year-old version of me. And when I really intentionally started sending those words to my ex-husband is when my heart was healed. That's been a big part of my journey.
That's so beautiful. And this is not something you have to actually say to them. They don't need to hear it,
No.
do they? No, this is just for ourselves. Can we do that real quick together? What were they again? It was, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. All right. So let's wrap up this way. Everyone listening, I just want you to kind of take a moment, whatever it is you're doing, whether you're driving, whether you're falling asleep at night, whether you're doing the dishes, whether you're walking your dog, you're hanging out with your kids, wherever it is you listen to this podcast. I just want you to take a moment, maybe put a hand on your heart if that feels good to you. Think of somebody who kind of makes your body feel a little bit icky when you think about them, makes you feel just like, I don't want to do this prayer for them. That's the exact person we're going to do this prayer for. And we're just going to hold our heart. And Dr. Deonne, can you just say the 4 words again, please?
Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
So powerful. And thank you so much for coming on the show today, Dr. Deonne, and I will speak with you next time. Take care. As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, be sure to head over to our show notes where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.